Most founders I talk to have already decided they can't do short form content. Not because they don't believe it works, because they've done the math in their head and concluded it would eat their entire week. They're picturing daily filming, a content calendar they have to manage, an editor they have to hire, and a constant pressure to come up with something to say. And they're right to reject that version of it because that version is unsustainable for someone running a real business. But that's not the system. The founders producing a week of short form content are not spending 20 hours a week on it. They're spending 3, one recording session, and the AI system handles everything else. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact system step by step so you can see precisely where your 3 hours go and where the other 20 hours of work get handled for you. Let me name the real reason short form content fails for most professional service founders because it isn't the reason you think. It's not discipline. It's not being on camera. It's not even time, although time is a symptom everyone points to. The real reason is that most founders treat every single post as a separate creative decision. They sit down on a Tuesday with no plan, try to think of something valuable to say, film it, get frustrated with the editing, post it, and then have to do the entire thing again on Wednesday from zero. No founder running a multi-million-dollar firm has the willpower to spare on guessing what to post every morning. When every post is a fresh decision, the cost per post is enormous because you're paying the ideation cost, the scripting cost, the filming cost, and the editing cost every single time. A system does the opposite. It makes the decision once, in batch, and then runs it. The founder's only job inside the system is the one thing only the founder can do, which is talk to the camera about what they know. Everything else gets pulled out of your hands. So let's get specific about where your 3 hours go because this is the part most people get wrong. The 3 hours are not spread across the week. They are not 15 minutes here and 20 minutes there whenever inspiration strikes. That model is exactly what fails. It's one block, one batch recording session. You sit down once a week in front of a camera with a stack of scripts already written and already in front of you. You're not deciding what to say. You're not staring at a blank page. You're reading and delivering content that was prepared before you ever walked in. In one session, you record every piece of short form content for the week, no daily filming, no spontaneous phone videos in the car, no pressure to capture a thought before you forget it. Here's what that does psychologically, and it matters more than the time savings. When content is one scheduled block on your calendar, it stops being a thing you feel guilty about all week. It becomes an appointment like any other meeting. You show up, you execute, you're done. By the way, if you want to see what a personalized version of the system would look like for your specific firm, I built a tool that generates a custom content strategy for your business. You submit your Instagram handle, answer a few questions, and you get a roadmap in your inbox. The link is in the description. Now let me show you everything that happens outside those 3 hours, because this is where the leverage actually lives. The system handles 4 things you never touch. Ideation. The content angles for the week are researched and selected before you ever see them. You're not brainstorming. Scripting. Every short form piece is written out as a script. Hook, body, close. You're reading, not writing. Testing. Analyzing, testing, validating, and creating conclusions on why content is performing and why some are not. Data analysis. Analyzing every content piece to feed it back into the content system for improvement. Out of the entire content process, exactly one step requires the founder, the recording. Everything else is a process that can be systemized and delegated either to a tool or to a person running the tool. That's the entire insight. The reason you've avoided content isn't that content is hard. It's that you've been trying to personally own all of these steps when you only ever needed to own one. Let me go deeper on the front end of this because the AI layer is what makes a 3-hour number possible. Before your recording session, the system does the work that used to take a founder an entire day of thinking. It starts with your ideal client profile, not a vague audience. The specific person you want to walk through your door. A law firm wants a certain kind of case, an accounting practice wants a certain kind of client, a real estate group wants a certain kind of seller. The content has to speak to that person and no one else. From that profile, the AI research analysis pulls the questions, objections, and decisions that person is actually working through. The things they search for, the things they're confused about, the things they don't trust. This is the difference between content that builds a following and content that builds a pipeline. And it's the most expensive lesson I ever learned. I once built an Instagram account to 30,000 followers from scratch, real followers, consistent posting, the whole thing, and it produced almost nothing for the business because none of it was aligned to a specific client or a specific offer. It was volume without strategy. The number looked great, but the bank account didn't move. So the AI layer exists to prevent exactly that. It doesn't just generate content, it generates content aimed at a buyer. Those angles then get drafted into full scripts. By the time you sit down to record, your week is already written. You're reading content engineered to attract the exact client you want. And your only job is to deliver it like the expert you already are. So what comes out the other end of one 3-hour session? 15 plus content pieces tailored to your strategy, coming from real signals within your own business and external market every single week, ready for you to record. From that one block, you get a full week of short form content distributed across all platforms. The same expertise, captured once, repurposed into multiple pieces, posted on a consistent cadence without you lifting a finger after the recording ends. And I want to be precise about why this matters for a professional service business specifically, because this is not about views. Here's the part that separates this from a social media play. The job of this content is not to make you internet famous. It's to move a stranger through a sequence that ends in a qualified conversation. The sequence is simple. Content earns attention, attention turns a stranger into a follower who keeps seeing your expertise eventually raises their hand, usually in your DMs or on a comment, and that raised hand becomes a qualified lead, which becomes a call, which becomes a client. Notice what's missing from that sequence. There's no ad spend, there's no cold outbound, there's no waiting for a referral partner to remember you exist. The content does the work you're currently paying for in other, more expensive ways. A founder running a law firm or an accounting practice on referrals and paid ads has a pipeline that stops the moment the spending stops or the relationships go quiet. But this content doesn't stop. A clip you record in one of these batch sessions can book a call for you 6 months from now while you're doing actual client work. That's the entire point of the 3-hour system. It's not a content habit. It's a client acquisition asset that compounds, built in a fraction of the time you assumed it required. The reason you avoided short content isn't that it doesn't work for your industry. It's that you were looking at the unsustainable version of it where the founder owns every step and the whole thing collapses by week 3. The real system asks for one thing from you, 3 hours in a single block, and handles all the other steps without you. If you want to see what this would look like for your specific firm, I built a tool that does exactly that. You submit your Instagram handle, answer a few questions about your business, and the system generates a custom content strategy and it sends it to your inbox. It takes about 60 seconds and the link is in the description. And if you'd rather just sit down and map this out for your business directly, there's a second link to chat with me on Instagram. No pitch, just a conversation about your situation and whether the system fits it. If this was useful, subscribe because I'm posting new videos every week on exactly this.